Hi there, I'm George Dus, and you're listening to the Spirit of Dating podcast. If episode 1 was about why this show exists, this one's about why you matter. Because before attraction, before polarity, before all those stories we tell ourselves about the one, there's something quieter, the relationship you have with yourself. And that's where the real love begins. You can't feel safe with someone else if you're still unsafe within yourself. You can't be seen clearly until you've looked at yourself without judgment. You can't receive love, really receive it, until you stop outsourcing your worth to someone else who only offers you pieces of themselves. Think about that for a sec. How many times have you waited for someone else to validate you, to tell you you're enough, to make you feel worthy of love? And what happens when they don't show up? When that text doesn't come, when they go quiet for days. You question yourself, you wonder what you did wrong. You start making deals with yourself about how to be smaller, quieter, more patient. Anything to make them stay. That's not love. That's abandoning yourself. So today we're talking about remembering your sacred worth. And I don't mean that in some abstract, spiritual bypass kind of way. I mean the real lived experience of knowing deep in your bones that you're worthy of love right now as you are. This whole episode is really about holding up a mirror, seeing yourself clearly. It reminds me of Emily Nagassi's book, Come As You Are. And men, you should read this too, because it breaks down the science of female sexuality and arousal in ways that help you actually understand the women you're dating. But what Emily teaches us that you have to see yourself clearly first. Things like stress, mood, trust, and body image isn't peripheral to intimacy. They're central to it. And that you're already whole just by being yourself. And that's what we're doing here, learning to see ourselves clearly so we can show up whole in love. Let me tell you about a woman called Maya. She's the kind of woman people notice. Smart, magnetic, grounded when you meet her in public. She's got her life together on paper. Good job, good friends, takes care of herself. But in private, she spent years waiting for men who never fully showed up. The latest one was textbook. He texted her every morning. Good morning, beautiful. Sweet, right? Then nothing. Radio silence. Sometimes a week would pass. Then out of nowhere, a gym selfie. No context. No, hey, I'm sorry I disappeared. Just a picture like everything was normal. And every single time he went quiet, she'd feel that knot in her stomach. You know the one. That panic you try to dress up as patience. That voice that says, don't be needy. Don't ruin it. Just be cool. She'd tell her friends, he's just busy. Tell herself, I don't want to be one of those women that demands attention all the time. And underneath all that, she made deals with herself. Maybe if I just stay calm enough, he'll finally choose me. Maybe if I don't ask for too much, he'll see me different from other women. Maybe if I just wait a little longer. Sound familiar? One night she called me, and I could hear it in her voice. She's been crying. She says, he finally messaged me. Said he misses me. I asked, what did you say back? She says, I told him I miss him too. Then quieter. But honestly, I'm done. I'm exhausted. That sentence just hung there on the line. Because exhausted is what your body says when your soul's had enough. When you've been holding yourself together for someone who can't even hold a conversation. We paused for a minute. Neither of us saying anything. Then she said something that hit me right in the chest. I keep accepting scraps because I'm scared no one's actually going to show up with the real thing. And in that moment, I realized I've been doing the same thing. Different circumstances, different people, but that same pattern of settling for less, making excuses, abandoning yourself for someone who can't even show up consistently. That's self-abandonment right there. Not some big dramatic thing, just that quiet daily act of loving from empty instead of full. Now, here's what got me. It wasn't that she didn't know better. She's brilliant. She's self aware. She reads the books, does the therapy, knows all the red flags. Same as I did. I knew better too. But knowing and doing are two different things. Because deep down, we both still believed love had to be earned, that we had to prove ourselves worthy of someone else's full attention, that if we were just perfect enough, patient enough, understanding enough, that maybe, just maybe, someone would choose us. So, right there on the call, I pulled a card for her, Empress Reversed. I told her, Spirit's basically saying you've forgotten about your own garden. That night, she deleted his number. Not out of anger, not to prove a point. She just woke up. She told me later, I realized I'd been treating my heart like a waiting room. Just sitting there, hoping somebody would finally call my name. That's when she started the real relationship, the one with herself. Sometimes the first act of self-love isn't falling for someone new. It's walking away from the story where you keep disappearing. When I pulled the Empress Reversed for Maya, I actually smiled. Not because the message was easy to hear, because it was exactly what she needed to see. Upright, the Empress is abundance. She's that lush, fertile energy, sensual, creation, unconditional love. She's the archetype of the mother, but not just in a literal sense. She's the part of you that nourishes, that creates, that says, you are loved simply because you exist. Reversed, she's still got that power, but the flow's turned inward. She's learning to fill her own cup first, to nourish herself before she pours out for everyone else. Spirit was clear. You can't keep pouring yourself out for everyone else and call it love. That's just leaking energy. That's giving from depletion, not overflow. And that's what Maya was doing. Not just for this guy, with everyone. Friends, family, dates. She's the one who always showed up, always made the effort, always understood when plans changed or texts were unanswered. She thought that made her a good person. And it does, don't get me wrong. But it also made her invisible. Because when you're always the one giving, people stop seeing you. They just see you for what you can do for them. When Maya started doing small things, cooking actual meals for herself instead of grabbing whatever was in the fridge, journaling before bed, lighting a candle, and just sitting there in quiet, her whole energy shifted. Not in that Instagram perfect self-care way. You know what I mean, where everything's curtailed and looks good but doesn't actually change anything. This was deeper. This was vibration. She told me a few weeks later, I feel full again. Not high off some new guy texting me back or giving me attention. Just steady. Like I'm standing on solid ground for the first time in years. And that's it. That's real healing. Peace instead of pretending. Fullness instead of performing. In tarot language, she went from Empress Reversed to the Star. If you've never had a reading or aren't familiar with tarot, let me paint this for you. The Star card shows a woman naked under the night sky, pouring water back and forth between earth and pond. 1 foot on solid ground, 1 in the water. She's completely vulnerable, but she's not afraid. She's renewing herself. She trusts the process. That's what the Star represents. Hope that comes from within, not waiting for someone else to save you. Total renewal, total trust in yourself. That's self-love. Not some fix-it list. Just getting back to center. Getting back to your own worth isn't negotiable and never will be. Here's the spiritual truth. Until you know your own sacredness, and I mean really know it, not just intellectually, but in your body, Spirit's going to keep sending you people who make you question it. Not to punish you, to wake you up. So just sit with that for a second. What if every heartbreak, every disappointment, every person who didn't choose you was actually Spirit reminding you that you've been sacred this whole time? What if the lesson wasn't try harder, but come home to yourself? Let's talk energy. The feminine pulls people in through openness and truth. She doesn't chase, she creates space. She invites. And when she's grounded in her worth, That invitation is magnetic. The masculine moves things forward through clarity and direction. He doesn't perform, he shows up, he leads. And when he's grounded in his worth, that leadership feels safe. When the feminine forgets her worth, she starts hustling for love. She's the one reaching out first, planning everything, making sure he's happy, trying to prove she's worth keeping around. When the masculine forgets his, he performs for approval. He's the one over explaining himself, seeking validation, trying to prove he's good enough. Different clothes, same insecurity. Maya's energy before she woke up, I call it hungry openness. Beautiful, generous, warm, but underneath, that's fear. There's that edge of, please don't leave me. And that energy doesn't make someone want to pursue you, it drains them. Because people can feel when your love comes with a hidden cost. Even if that cost is just, please stay so I don't feel worthless. Even if you never say it out loud, they feel it, and it pushes them away. Not because they're cruel, because it's exhausting to be someone else's source of worth. When Maya recentered herself, when she stopped waiting for someone to validate her and start validating herself, something shifted. Guys started texting differently. Conversations got deeper, more respect, more consistency. Not because she played some game, not because she learned some new strategy from TikTok or some dating coach, because her vibe said, I'm not auditioning for anyone. And that's when men started showing up differently. Not all of them. Some guys disappeared because they were only there for an ego boost. But the ones who stayed, they stepped up. For women listening, that's magnetic. Not your beauty, not your accomplishments, not your Instagram feed, not how cool or easygoing you are. What's magnetic is your groundness, your peace, your refusal to abandon yourself for someone else's attention. And for men, that's the woman you can actually relax around because she's not looking to you to complete her. She's looking to build something with you. Self-worth is the reset button for polarity. Let's just breathe with that. The power is not chasing what's already supposed to be yours. All right, let's make this practical. First thing, the mirror exercise. Every morning, look yourself in the eye. Really look. I mean, actually make eye contact with yourself in the mirror. Not a quick glance while you're brushing your teeth. Actually stop and look at yourself into your own eyes. And say out loud, I'm choosing myself again today. Notice what comes up. If you cry, good. Your heart's been holding that. If you feel resistance, that's okay too. That's just a part of you that's been waiting for someone else to choose you first. But here's the truth. No one can choose you better than you can choose yourself. This isn't affirmation. This isn't fake positivity where you're pretending everything's fine when it's not. This is you making a commitment to the one person who's going to be with you for your entire life. You. Second, attachment reflection. Next time someone pulls away, and they will, because that's part of dating, write down the story you immediately tell yourself. Is it, I must have done something wrong, or I'm not good enough? Maybe it's, if I was prettier, funnier, more successful, more chill, they'd stay. That's your inner child asking for reassurance. The part of you that learned love was conditional, that you had to be good enough to earn affection. Meet her there. Don't beat her up. Don't tell her she's stupid for feeling that way. Just acknowledge what's happening, because awareness is the first step to breaking the pattern. Ask yourself, is this story true, or is it an old wound speaking? Most of the time, it's the wound. And when you see that clearly, when you separate what's actually happening from the story you're telling yourself about what's happening, it loses its power over you. Third, make a self-nourishment list. Write down 5 things that actually refill you. Not what Instagram says should refill you, not what your friends do, what actually works for you. Music, walks, laughing with friends, prayer, silence, cooking, dancing in the kitchen at midnight. Whatever it is that makes you feel like yourself again. And here's the key. Schedule them before you schedule anyone else. Put them in your calendar like they're meetings you can't miss. Because they are. They're meetings with yourself. If you keep canceling on yourself for other people, why would anyone else show up for you? Here's the thing. When you're consistent with yourself, you create safety and love. Because you're not looking to someone else to fill you up. You're already full. And that changes everything. It changes how you date. It changes how you attract. It changes what you're willing to tolerate. Maya started simple, fresh flowers every Friday. She said to me, "It feels silly, but they remind me I'm worth something beautiful just because." That one ritual changed how she received everything else. Because when you treat yourself like you deserve beauty, you stop accepting people who treat you like you're disposable. So maybe tonight, before you pick up your phone and scroll through messages that make you feel worse, light a candle instead. Sit with yourself for 5 minutes and ask yourself, what do I actually need from me right now? And then give it to yourself. Not tomorrow, not when you're fixed or healed or ready. Right now. Let's be honest for a minute. A lot of women say they want a man who chooses them, who shows up constantly, who doesn't play games. But you can't be chosen when you're abandoning yourself. Because here's what happens. When you don't have a relationship with yourself, when you don't know your own worth, you start looking for someone else to give it to you. And that's desperation. People smell it. They don't know what it is, but they feel it, and it repels them. Attraction is not affection. A good morning text with zero follow through isn't pursuit, it's breadcrumbing. And if someone's actually consistent, if they actually show up, you shouldn't have to remind them. Men aren't the enemy here, confusion is. When you know your worth, mixed signals don't look mysterious anymore. They don't look like, he's just scared of how much he likes me, or he's going through something right now. They just look wrong for you. And here's the truth telling part that's hard to hear. Sometimes you're the one sending mixed signals. You say you want consistency, but you reward inconsistency by staying. You say you want someone who shows up, but you make excuses for people who don't. You say you want to be chosen, but you keep choosing people who aren't available, emotionally, physically, or otherwise. Not because you're broken, not because you're stupid, because somewhere along the line, you've learned that love was supposed to be hard. That if it came easy, it isn't real. But that's a lie. Real love, healthy love, isn't effortless, but it shouldn't feel like you're constantly proving yourself worthy of it. And men, if you're listening, know this. Presence isn't weakness, it's leadership. A woman who knows her worth doesn't need you to rescue her. She doesn't need you to fix her problems or make her happy. She needs to know you're steady, that you say what you mean and mean what you say. That's polarity. Two whole people showing up, not two broken halves trying to fix each other. Self-love kills the game. It says, I'm not here to win points or prove myself. I'm here for peace. And if you can't meet me there, that's okay. But I'm not lowering my standards to make you comfortable. So just sit with that for a moment. Peace instead of proving. Here's what I want you to try this week. First, take yourself on a date. No phone scrolling, no multitasking, just you, your favorite food, your music, soft lighting, not to prove you're independent, not to post about it, just to practice being present with yourself. See what it feels like to enjoy your own company without distraction, to sit with yourself without needing to fill the silence. Second, before you reach out to someone, pause. When you feel that I should text first impulse, that anxiety that maybe if you don't reach out, they'll forget about you, stop. Ask yourself, am I saying something true or am I just looking for reassurance? If it's truth, send it. If it's anxiety, wait, let it pass. See what happens when you don't chase. Because here's what I've learned. The right people don't need to be chased. And the people who need constant chasing, they're not your people. Third, swap self-criticism for curiosity. Instead of, why do I always pick the wrong guys? Try, what part of me still thinks love's supposed to hurt? Instead of what's wrong with me, Try, what am I trying to heal through this person? Awareness opens the door. Compassion walks you through it. So before we close, just take a second. Close your eyes if you want. Feel your heartbeat. That's the sound of someone worth loving. Right now, as you are. When I think about Maya now, I picture her balcony garden. She sends me photos sometimes, plants growing towards the light, her smile softer than before. She told me recently, I didn't find a guy right away, but I found peace, and now I won't trade that for scraps again. That's growth. That's evolution. When peace becomes your baseline, love stops being desperate. It stops being something you chase or beg for. It becomes something you invite, and only the right people accept the invitation. And maybe that's what this is all about. Self-love isn't a destination. It's not something you achieve and then you're done. It's coming home to yourself every single day. Some days it's easy. Some days it's hard. Some days you'll catch yourself falling back into old patterns, waiting for a text, making excuses for someone, and abandoning yourself for a little bit of attention. And that's okay. That's being human. The work isn't to be perfect. The work is to notice, to catch yourself, to choose yourself again. So wherever you're listening from, maybe driving to work, maybe laying in bed after another confusing text, maybe walking your dog while your mind spins, just breathe. Let your chest rise. You're already enough. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're becoming. And becoming takes time. And here's your spirit whisper for this week. You are the home you keep trying to find in others. Let that follow you into your text, into your mirror, into the quiet moments when you're alone with your thoughts. Because the spirit of dating isn't about tactics or strategies. It's about remembering who you were before anyone told you you weren't enough. This is the Spirit of Dating podcast. Real stories, real spirit, real dating. I'm George Dus. You can find me at Dus Tarot for personal readings or connect with me on social media. Until next time, be gentle with your heart and let your worth speak first.